What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, I'm doing a massive silly season roundup and silly season update to get you updated on everything that has happened so far in the 2022 NASCAR silly season from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Let's go ahead and talk about everything that's happened in the silly season. We're going to kick it off by talking about Chase Elliott signing a contract extension at Hendrick Motorsports through 2027. That means that Chase Elliott will continue driving with Hendrick Motorsports for the next 5 seasons. With how much success Chase Elliott's had at Hendrick Motorsports, this contract made a lot of sense. He'll be expected to continue driving the Hendrick Motorsports for the rest of his career. Silly season would be quiet for a few months, and then in early May, it will be announced that William Byron would also sign a multi-year contract extension with Hendrick Motorsports through the 2025 season. He'll be fully funded by companies like Exalta and Liberty University throughout the season. William Byron has had an up-and-down year in 2022, but he will continue driving for the team, and he will continue, I think, to have a lot of great success with Hendrick Motorsports over the next few years. Then, a few weeks later, Project 91 would be announced, and we would see Kimi Räikkönen make their debut. And Justin Marston ended up saying that they would be planning to run 6 to 8 races in 2023 as well. Many drivers have been indicated for the ride that we're going to talk about throughout the silly season update, but Project 91 would be announced, and it is planned to be run 6 to 8 races. I can see long-term potentially being a full season team in the future if they end up getting a charter, but Project 91 is planning to run 6 to 8 races in 2023. Fast forward to a few weeks, and we're going to jump into talking about Parker Kligerman. Now, Parker Kligerman has come out multiple times throughout the silly season, and he's talked about he's had multiple offers from many teams for 2023. And he's also talked about the fact that he's trying to maybe get his own organization, Henderson Motorsports, the team he runs for, hoping to get that team to run full-time in 2023 with sponsorship and funding. With how much success Parker Kligerman has had with Henderson Motorsports, I think it'd be really awesome if he got an opportunity to drive for the team. Fast forward to the first weekend of the SRX, and let's jump and talk about Julio Castroneves. Now, Julio Castroneves has been in the news cycle really for the last few months due to him that if he had won an SRX race, which was one of 5 flags he got called up to do the race for it, if he had won that race, he would get an opportunity to race in the Daytona 500. Now, there have been indications that he could drive the Project 91 car in 2023 or with another organization like Team Penske, perhaps. Castroneves, though, is supposed to have an opportunity to get behind the wheel of a car, and we'll see if he has a shot to do that. Fast forward, I believe, the same week, and we're going to talk about Niece Motorsports. Now, Cody Efa was on the podcast that Davey Siegel does, and they were talking about the future of Niece Motorsports. And Niece Motorsports' manager, Cody Efa, would say that they have had conversations about potentially going to the Cup Series in 2023 with Carson Hocevar. Now, it's unclear if Niece Motorsports is going to keep Carson Hocevar past this year. We'll talk about maybe why he could potentially be moving to an organization in a later portion of the silly season update. But Niece Motorsports jumping up the Cup would be really insane. I would think it'd be part-time in 2023 if they are to move up, but that is a possible option for 2023. Then at the week of Nashville, we actually have a couple of major announcements that would happen. The first one being Ricky Stenhouse Jr., as he would reveal that he has signed a multi-year contract extension with JTG Daugherty Racing. After the kind of success he's had at JTG Daugherty Racing, it made a lot of sense for him to continue driving for the same organization that he's been having success with. And we've seen them have some pretty good pace in 2022 as well. I expect the Stenhouse will continue to have that great pace as well and try to help JTG Daugherty over the next couple of years. He's probably going to finish his career with JTG Daugherty Racing, so his hope and goal is to help the team build up, as they also maybe in the future could be a 2-car organization once again. On the same day, it will be announced that Mark Truex announced himself that he'd be returning to Joe Gibbs Racing in 2023. Now, obviously, there have been a lot, at the time, there have been a lot of talk that maybe Mark Truex was maybe looking at retirement. And a lot of people thought that Ty Gibbs will be replacing him for 2023. Or another driver, perhaps, was going to replace him. Well, at that national weekend, Truex revealed that he's going to do at least one more season. Now, past 2023, it is unclear if he's going to race past that season, considering Martin Truex Jr. is going to be 43. But it would not shock or surprise me if Martin Truex Jr. does continue racing after 2023 and races for the next few years. On the July 4th weekend, or right after the July 4th weekend, we would start hearing indications about Reddick returning to racing in 2023. However, out of nowhere, in shocking fashion, the same day that Alex Palou would basically get involved in contract disputes, Tyler Reddick would go into a Toyota meeting, and he would reveal himself that he would be jumping out of RCR and would be driving for 2311 Racing, heading into the 2024 season. Now, it's unclear maybe that we can see a buyout for 2311 to move Tyler Reddick over to 2311 Racing, but this shocked the NASCAR landscape, and what we all thought was probably going to be the craziest news cycle of the day, because Tyler Reddick, we all thought was going to be the long-term factory driver for RCR. Look at the success Tyler Reddick has had this year for Gibbs Racing. He has had a lot of success with the team, already scoring 2 victories, and unfortunately did not make it past the round of 12 this season. But Tyler Reddick will be moving over to 2311 Racing in 2024. Major indications right there, but a lot of chaos right there for Reddick moving to 2311. Then we start talking about Kurt Busch. Now, Kurt Busch obviously has been in the news cycle really for the last 2 weeks, because back in, I believe, the middle of July, Kurt Busch just started talking about his potential future and was hinting at potential retirement after the 2023 season. Well, it's not even clear at the moment if Kurt Busch is going to be even driving in 2023 as well. At the Pocono weekend, Kurt Busch suffered a concussion after crashing at Pocono during a qualifying session, and Ty Gibbs will go in to substitute for him that specific weekend. Now, Ty Gibbs has been driving the 23 car for the last 2 weeks, as the 45 and 23 teams would basically swap numbers. Bubba driving the 45 and Kurt Busch driving the number 23, not Kurt Busch, Ty Gibbs driving the number 23 car. It's unclear if Kurt's going to be back next year. Denny Hamlin has indicated himself that they do believe that Kurt Busch is going to continue driving that car next season, but we've had also talked that John Hunter Nemechek could potentially be a replacement for him next season. We'll be waiting to see what happens if Kurt Busch does return or not, but likely Kurt Busch is going to be back in 2023. About the weekend of New Hampshire, it would be revealed that Ty Dillon would be announced that he would not be returning to Petty GMS Motorsports in 2023. Considering he was the original driver of the Petty GMS group and originally the 494 car, it was very shocking to hear this news with Ty Dillon. But with the performances we've seen from Erik Jones this season, it's not a major shock considering Ty Dillon, I think, has only had 1 or 2 top 10s, while Erik Jones has won a race so far this season. It wasn't really a major shock and a major surprise that this move happened. Ty Dillon is still looking for a ride heading into 2023. There's been some rumblings that maybe he could go to Richard Childress' Xfinity Series program. There's also been rumors maybe he could go to Big Machine Racing next year and drive full-time, as they've indicated that that could be their plans. Then the weekend, I believe it was, of Pocono, Matt DiBenedetto and Rackley WR Racing would reveal that Matt DiBenedetto would be returning to Rackley WR Racing in 2023. Matt DiBenedetto's had a lot of success with Rackley WR this year, did not make the Truck Series playoffs, but I think Matt DiBenedetto will continue to drive for the team and do great things with the team next season. He's indicated that he wants to get the team really, really good. I think he's the future of Rackley WR, and I think we'll be able to help the team continue succeeding heading into 2023. Then let's talk about Jimmie Johnson. Jimmie Johnson has been in the news cycle really for the last few months. He's indicated that he's wanted to run multiple races. Chicago Street Course, the NASCAR Indy Double, basically running in the Memorial Day weekend. He's talked about maybe running to run North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race, among other races that he's indicated as possible options for Jimmie Johnson next year. It would not shock or surprise if we see Jimmie Johnson do a one-off. I think he will only do one race if he does come back next season. We'll wait to see what Jimmie Johnson does. Then, a few weeks later, Erik Jones, after basically been saying that more than likely deal was going to be done, Erik Jones revealed that he has signed a multi-year contract extension for Petty GMS Motorsports. It's unclear how long the deal is, but it will at least be a 2 to 3 year deal, so probably up until around 2025 is going to be the deal. Considering that he's already won a race this year with Petty GMS Motorsports, it makes a lot of sense to re-sign Erik Jones with all the success that he's had this season. I think Erik Jones is going to continue doing really great things at the team, and it does make a lot of sense for him to return. Then, out of nowhere, on a weekday, I think it was on a Wednesday or Thursday evening, we had a random team that just popped up. Now, this team really kind of came out of nowhere, and someone really found us, I think, on NASCAR and Reddit. And it was a team called 3F Racing, as they're looking to race this season and in 2023 as well. They are the first German racing organization, and there's been a lot of rumblings that NY Racing may have bought up the parts and pieces for 3F Racing to run next season. There's been some rumors that Justin Allgaier and Earl Bamber could be the drivers, but Justin Allgaier, I think, has denied these claims. We'll wait to see what happens in regards to 3F Racing, but we'll see if they do even show up in 2023. Then we go to, I believe, the Michigan weekend, and we start hearing some talks about Jordan Anderson Racing. And Jordan Anderson indicates that Jordan Anderson Racing is looking to expand to a two-car operation in 2023. We have seen a couple times this year where we've seen Jordan Anderson Racing have two cars. Jordan Anderson tried to qualify in Michigan. Unfortunately, they were not able to make the show. And they tried to qualify at Watkins Glen, where I think they also ended up failing to make the race as well. But they'll be looking to expand heading into 2023. I would assume that Mysider will be back with the team full-time next year with the sponsorship funding that he has. But it will definitely be cool to see if Jordan Anderson Racing does truly make the jump up to be a two-car organization. Then, a few weeks later, it will be announced that Sam Mayer will announce himself, and Junior Motorsports would reveal that Sam Mayer will be returning to Junior Motorsports in 2023 in the one car. While Sam Mayer has not won a race so far in 2022, Sam Mayer has been one of the most consistent drivers that has not won a race so far this season. So it makes a lot of sense for them to continue to have Sam Mayer on a team and continue driving for the organization. It'll be looking to try to get his first career win. It'll probably be a championship contender in 2023. Fast forward a few days, and it will be announced from Petty GMS after some rumblings indications that Noah Gragson will be driving the 42 for Petty GMS Motorsports next season. Noah Gragson is a championship threat in the Xfinity Series with already 6 wins so far this season, looking for his 4th consecutive victory. That'd be the first time in a long time that we've seen someone potentially get their 4th consecutive victory this weekend at Texas Motor Speedway. Noah Gragson's also making select Cup Series starts. One thing for Noah Gragson, he's going to have to work on his fitness and health to be in really, really good shape, considering he's basically thrown up a lot of times. But I do think Noah Gragson could be a very successful driver, and he's got really a lot of superstardom in his making. Noah Gragson's a great driver. He'll be driving the 42 car next season. Then about a couple weeks later, it will be announced that Bubba Wallace himself had signed a multi-year contract extension with 2311 Racing. Now remember, Bubba Wallace already had a deal for 2023. This extend past the TV window. It's unclear how long the deal is, but I would assume it probably goes to around 2026 to 2027. Bubba Wallace, of course, already has won a race so far this year at Kansas Speedway, and he's been doing really good this year, having a career year. Bubba Wallace, I think, has had 8 or 9 top 10s this year, and has been one of the most consistent drivers in the last 10 to 11 races. So that's why they sign him, and they keep him, and they're doing a really good thing by keeping Bubba Wallace in the organization. Then a couple days later, it will be announced that Ryan Blaney also has signed a multi-year contract extension with Team Penske. In fact, a long-term contract extension with Ryan Blaney. Makes a lot of sense. You look at what Ryan Blaney's been able to accomplish with the team over the last couple of years, and with him being part of the Penske program for as long as he's been, I'm not shocked or surprised to see that he's going to continue driving it for the team, and I think he will continue a lot of success with Team Penske going forward. Then, while during the Kyle Busch saga, we're going to get into a little bit here later in this episode. Basically, Cole Custer basically was Greg Zipadelli, who basically confirmed to the media that Cole Custer is expected to return to the 41 car in 2023, despite the lackluster performances the last 3 seasons. But you have to remember that Cole Custer is the son of Joe Custer, who is the president of Stewart-Haas Racing. Cole Custer is definitely going to have to step it up heading into 2023 and really to stay long-term for the team. But I do think there's a possibility that he could have a chance of stepping up in 2023. Then about a week later, it will be announced from Team Penske that Joey Logano would also sign a long-term contract extension with the organization. Joey Logano has been with the team since 2013. It's unclear how long the deal is, but a long-term deal means it's probably a 5 to 6 year deal. And by that point, Joey Logano is going to be around 40 years old and reaching the near end of his career. It makes a lot of sense. Logano's a champion of the sport, and it makes a lot of sense Logano is going to continue driving the 22 car long-term with Team Penske. Then, during that same week that Joey Logano announced his long-term contract extension, Junior Motorsports would basically announce that they would not be jumping up to the Cup Series in 2023. They have been talking about potentially making a few select Cup starts in 2023, but due to the pricing and not having a charter next year, Junior Motorsports is not going to be making the jump up to the Cup Series in 2023. It's such a shame because it would have been cool to see them jump up, but it's not a surprise considering the cost. After that, let's talk about Zane Smith. As it would be announced, I think in early August or mid-August, that Zane Smith announced that he would be returning to Firma Motorsports in 2023 in a multi-year contract extension with the team. He also will be making select Cup Series starts with Farmer Motorsports in 2023, 5 to be exact, and he will be racing in the Daytona 500 as well. Now, this will be his Daytona 500 debut, but not his Cup Series debut, as he did make his debut with RFK Racing in substitution for Chris Buescher. Zane Smith's been really talented, is a championship threat in the Truck Series, and will continue to have a lot of success with Farmer Motorsports in the Truck Series next season. Then the weekend of Daytona, on the Saturday afternoon or the Friday afternoon, Daniel Suarez would officially be announced to be returning to Trackhouse Racing in 2023. Now, one thing that's really interesting to note, it's only a one-year deal, but Trackhouse is committed to Suarez long-term. Big reason that they only signed a one-year extension is due to the upcoming TV deal, and they feel like they're going to get a lot more money. Daniel Suarez, of course, who picked up his first career NASCAR Cup Series victory this season. He deserves the extension, in my opinion, and will be a really good driver for Trackhouse long-term. It's been a career year for Suarez, and I would not be surprised if he wins a lot more races and one day becomes a championship threat at this team. On the same day, Eric Almirola would be finally officially revealed that he would be returning to Stewart-Haas Racing in 2023 in a multi-year extension. Despite a lot of rumblings and him basically originally announcing he would not be returning and would be retiring, Eric Almirola reconsidered the deal. And the big reason is because of his family. But his family said it would be okay for him to continue racing heading into 2023, and he'll be with the team for multiple years. Almirola is someone I think that could have a major breakout year like 2018 and could have a big breakthrough season where he gets multiple victories, like he should have in 2018. Almirola is still a really solid driver to this day, and he will continue to do some good stuff. Then a couple weekends later, Big Machine Racing's owner, Scott Borchetta, would go on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. And the plan for Big Machine Racing heading in 2023 is they want to have one full-time driver for next season, but they would like to have a second car for multiple drivers like a cup rotation. Big Machine Racing team has already won this year with Tyler Reddick, and they also could bring a guy like Marco Andretti into the team as well, or even Ty Dillon perhaps could get an opportunity to get by and be with a Big Machine Racing. Then we jump up to Cog Racing because out of nowhere, about a couple weeks ago, Cog Racing would have this poster board that would come out. And Cog Racing basically has a big announcement in regards to their Cup Series program for October the 5th. Now, very recently, yesterday, AJ Allmendinger did say that if Matt Cog wants them to jump up the Cup full-time next year, he would do it. But he has said publicly that they have not had conversations. Cog will have a Cup announcement in the near future. It'll be something to definitely watch for sure on October the 5th. On the day of the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Darlington, Woojie Motorsports owner Jessie Woojie talked about what the plans are for Woojie Motorsports heading into next season. Jessie Woojie says that they would love to be a two-car team heading into 2023, have Kyle Weatherman maybe as a full-time candidate. Kyle Weatherman has been extremely solid with the team this season, and I think he would be an absolutely fantastic candidate for full-time racing in 2023. On that same day, Chris Knight, who basically is co-owner of Cash Fence, he would talk about RSS Racing, and he heard on the grid, and then talk about potentially weighing options for a potential new manufacturer for 2023. This year has been an up and down year for RSS Racing when it comes to their branding. They've been up and down this year. They've been better than they were in 2021, but they've struggled with Ford. It would not surprise or shock me if they do move away from Ford and go to Toyota, or they go to Chevy, or they stay with Ford. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But now we get into the major story, and the main thing you're probably want to hear is about Kyle Busch. Obviously, I've talked about Kyle Busch a lot on this channel, but the big and final thing that officially came out is that Kyle Busch is officially going to Richard Childress Racing in 2023. He will drive the 8 car in 2023, so he'll be taking over the ride of Tyler Reddick has. Reddick will be driving a third Richard Childress Racing car in 2023. This is a major deal in signing, considering Kyle Busch we all thought was going to be returning to Joe Gibbs Racing, but sponsorship fell through, and now I'll be going over there. We've already seen some sponsors that have been willing and interested, one of them being Hot Wheels, that have shown interest over to Kyle Busch as well. Kyle Busch Motorsports, which is Kyle Busch's Truck Series team, will also moving away from Toyota and moving over to Chevy as well. And probably every single driver, maybe besides Chandler Smith, is probably going to be out of KBM. And they'll be looking to get drivers, maybe Carson Osmar perhaps, as potential options. Kyle Busch can also, if he wants to, he could run the Indy 500 in 2023 as well. And we've already seen interest from Aaron McLaren SP about potentially getting a 4th car for Kyle Busch next season. Kyle Busch going to the team, I think, makes a lot of sense. I think it will be a very successful pairing, and I expect great things from Kyle Busch next season with Gibbs Racing, and I think he'll get a few wins with the team next year. On the same day of the Kyle Busch press conference, Austin Dillon revealed that he has a contract with Gibbs Racing through 2025. Usually, Gibbs Racing contracts are not very public, but Dillon came out and personally talked about it. And it's very interesting. It is not longer, but I would expect that Austin Dillon is probably going to get a long-term extension with the team, considering he is the grandson of Richard Childress. And he might one day become a higher-up at the organization, as he indicated that that is a possibility down the road. He will, though, continue driving for the team. The next day, it would be revealed from Junior Motorsports that Brandon Jones will be leaving Gibbs Racing's NASCAR Xfinity Series program, and he'll be moving over to drive the 9 for Junior Motorsports in 2023. I think this is a good lateral move for Brandon Jones. I think Brandon Jones is a very solid driver, and we've seen how much better Junior Motorsports at points has been than Gibbs Racing this year. I think Ty Gibbs has been carrying the Gibbs Racing branding. I think Brandon Jones also, of course, he brings the sponsorship and funding as well. So I do think that Brandon Jones will be a very solid driver there, and I think he will be a championship threat at Junior Motorsports. The day before the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race, Jessie Little would reveal that he'd be retiring from racing in NASCAR. Basically, Jessie Little's been racing. He's been an underdog in the series for the last few years. He's been driving for teams, of course, like JD Motorsports, among other organizations as well. I expect some good things, well, not expect good things from Jessie Little because he's retiring, but he's going to be probably working as a higher-up in an organization. Then, I believe on the next day, it will be revealed that Ryan Nelson will be returning to Alpha Prime Racing in 2023, and he'll be running more races than he's already running this season. He is going to run 15-plus races in 2023. Ryan Nelson has been very solid with the Alpha Prime Racing organization, and I expect that he will do good things at Alpha Prime Racing. Then on Friday morning, this past Friday, Kyle Larson and Hendrick Motorsports announced a major contract extension that will really keep Kyle Larson at the organization through 2026. They also have HendrickCars.com be very similar to what they have currently with the current deal. They will have basically be the sponsor for Kyle Larson in 35 races every year, and those other 3 races I would expect to be sponsored by Valvoline. Kyle Larson, of course, the defending NASCAR Cup Series champion, has had a lot of success at Hendrick Motorsports, and I think he will do more stuff at Hendrick in the long-term future. Then on Saturday, late Friday afternoon, Onpoint Motorsports, there was an article that came out from Chris Knight from Cash Fans, and Onpoint Motorsports kind of is saying that they may not race in 2023. Onpoint Motorsports has been up and down the last couple of years. They're kind of a newer organization that really popped up, I think, in 2018. And now it sounds like there's a possibility that they could shut down at the end of 2022 if they do not find a driver. Now, they do have Caden Honeycutt driving in multiple races for the team. They're going to run him the last 3 races. Casey Camp reported that they will have him in the final 3 races of the season. Really hope he could be the potential driver for the team next season. Then, on Saturday night, after RFK Racing won the Cup Series race and their first time for our Brad Zosky as an owner, Brad Zosky revealed that RFK wants to be a 4-car team in the not-so-distant future. RFK Racing is a team that's a 2-car brand, but I think they want to improve their organization. But I think it would definitely be really awesome and really cool if RFK could long-term become a multi-car organization, a 4-car team in the long-term future. A couple of days would pass, and the next silly season bomb would drop in the Xfinity Series. Yesterday, or 2 days ago when you're watching this, it would be revealed that JD Motorsports will be a 3-car team heading into 2023, and Bailey Curry is confirmed to be back in the 4 next season. The rest of the team is not expected to be announced probably till later in the year, probably down around November, December. That's when they tend to announce their drivers for every single year. I do think that is a really good move to bring Bailey Curry back, considering he had a really strong run with the team very, very recently. I think he'll be very successful with the team next year once again. Then last night, or earlier this evening, Adam Stern puts out a tweet talking about Daniel Ricciardo. And according to his article, he says that Justin Marks has said that Daniel Ricciardo has shown interest in racing in the Project 91 cars, but he has to figure out his F1 ride first before he jumps in. A lot of people like myself would love to see Daniel Ricciardo get an opportunity to drive in Formula 1. I will be talking about this on the channel on Friday this week. I think it would be really cool to see if he does come over racing NASCAR, and maybe if he doesn't find a ride in Formula 1, which is sounding less and less likely that it is going to happen. I think we'll see what happens, but it sounded like he's a little interested and has shown some interest in racing in Formula 1, in NASCAR, I should say, in Project 91. Now let's talk about DJR Racing. DJR Racing's future could be in question, as it has been reported by the Door Bumper Clear podcast that DJR's Truck Series program could make the switch to Toyota next season. Toyota's not going to have a big team next year. KBM, they're of course going to Chevy, and DJR Racing is probably potentially going to be a team that's going to switch to Chevy. This affects drivers like Ryan Preece and Haley Deegan. Probably one of the big reasons why is Haley Deegan is probably racing in Xfinity Series on a part-time basis this year because she is a Ford development driver. That means that Front Row is probably going to end up being an organization that is going to be the main Ford branding next year. DJR has already been Toyota, but they have not been a Toyota team for the last couple of years, so it's going to be interesting to do go ahead and switch back to Toyota. And finally, let's talk about a son that's not really a silly season story, but Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs is expected to drive the 18 car next year. Now, Joe Gibbs Racing themselves have not officially confirmed this, but it's expected to be in the 18 car next year, and one of the big reasons why Kyle Busch is not in the organization next year. I think Ty Gibbs will be very successful at Joe Gibbs Racing next year in the number 18 car, and I do expect that he will be a pretty successful driver at the team heading into 2023. He probably will be driving the 18. We're waiting for that announcement to come out, but that's the last major thing. So those are the major silly season things that have happened up to this point. There's a lot of still being announced. Of course, Cog Racing, we still are waiting on their plans to be officially announced. We've got Kurt Busch, we still don't know what's going on with him for 2023, among other things, like some of the smaller teams like Aspire Motorsports or other organizations to officially announce their plans. So, that is going to be the silly season update video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on so you be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links in the description below over that. Comment your thoughts below on today's video. Thank you for watching the Silly Season Update, and thank you for showing your support. We got a lot of content that's going to be on the way this week. Of course, tomorrow on the channel, a NASCAR news video, and then Saturday, I do not know yet. I'll have to decide what I'm going to be doing for Saturday. I might try to do a little quick Xfinity Series review. I'll probably be at work, though, so I'm not sure yet. And then, of course, on Sunday, we'll be reviewing the Cup race from Texas. Good Lord, help me out. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.